Welcome to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast, where we unlock the power within and navigate the journey of your self-discovery together. I'm Shaz, your spiritual mentor and life coach, here to help you tap into your inner guidance system and manifest your best life. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or looking to deepen your practice, this podcast offers insights, techniques, and inspiration to elevate your consciousness and transform your reality. Get ready to shine your light and embrace your true potential. Remember, the answers are inside you. Let me be your guide on earth. Welcome back to the Spiritual Awakening podcast with Shaz. Today we're diving deeply into personal relationships and the transformational topic that a lot of people don't really go into. When you go through a spiritual awakening, one of the things that you'll tend to notice is as you become more awake, you become more aware of how people speak to you, how they treat you, what they do to you. You notice patterns and behaviors that you may have tolerated previously that you are no longer willing to put up with. And that is a big factor in personal growth, in awakening to the self and listening to the inner guidance of your soul, who will not let you put up with being put down, becoming a people pleaser, doing everything for everyone else to feel loved and accepted. And no matter what you do, that they'll never give it to you. So throughout today, I'm going to talk to you about growth and boundaries and how you're going to lose some people in your life. And they may be close family members. They may be best friends that you've known for 20 or 30 years. They may be partners and lovers or co-workers and things where you have tolerated treatment from them that you never fully noticed before, but you just accepted it as your due. But when you awaken, you will no longer do that. And so many people find themselves in a deep state of depression or anxiety from people leaving their life, not realizing that your higher self, spirit, and the universe are taking them out of your sphere to make way for so much better. It's all about self-respect. And one of the things that you notice in the beginning of a spiritual journey is many of us don't have self-respect, self-worth, low self-esteem, lack of self-love, and we're predominantly there to make people like us, or we're worried about what they think about us rather than what we think about ourselves. And that is where the problem therein lies, okay? When you want to live up to the role model of somebody else, as a coach, one of the big things that I'm asked time and time again from people, or their most common statement is when I say, what is the problem? I'm not good enough. But they can't actually define what good enough is, because they're trying to be good enough to be like their sister, like their sibling, like their brother, their cousin, whoever it may be. But good enough is not their own definition. They want to be good enough for their parents, for their siblings, for the teacher, for the co-worker, for the lover, for the partner, for the husband, for the wife, for the whoever is the most important person. That can be a friend, a colleague, it can be anyone in your life who set a bar of where they expect you or where they want you to be. The problem is they, one, don't define the bar. So the minute you reach it, they raise it. Therefore, you continue to feel not good enough. Nothing you ever do is right. Nothing that you ever do is what you need or what they want from you. And it creates this cycle of self-doubt, of repulsion, basically, where you hate yourself. There's this negative voice inside of you that tells you nothing that you do is enough. Nothing is good enough. You can't make anyone happy. It doesn't matter how much you do for them. You can't please others. And it's incredibly challenging when you choose to stop, create boundaries in life, and say no more. One of the scary parts about the spiritual awakening for me is that it takes a lot for people to get to this stage. They suffer through toxic relationships, traumas, battery. This is where we get into domestic violence. This is where we get into massive confrontations and fights with people because you put up with battery that is mental. There's the old-fashioned saying, right? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words have the most damage, especially when they're subtly manipulated at you to make you feel less than what you are, encouraged in a tone of voice or in a way that makes you feel it's your fault. How many women out there have ever been, if you've ever been a victim of domestic violence, of your partner yells, screams at you, gaslights you, is a narcissist, does all the bad things to you, and then turns around and goes, but you made me do it. And therefore you accept responsibility for it. You take on board their crap. Well, you made me do it. I hit you because you made me so angry. You did this to me. You did that to me. That's not what life is. We don't do anything to them. That is their responsibility. Their action, their reaction is their responsibility. Your responsibility is of how much you take it. And I have one rule in my whole life is that you'd hit me once and I would be gone. But in saying that, I put up with mental abuse for the best part of 40 years until I put a stop to it and said no more. I pray, wish, and hope every single day that nobody else ever does that, because it does more damage to us than we've ever done before. It is the reason behind why I get CPTSD. I suffer with anxiety symptoms. I've been depressed because of those thoughts and things other people said and did to me, because I had no backbone. But through the spiritual awakening journey, you find one. I always thought I was strong. I always knew that I was strong. I had a strong personality, and I would not put up with someone like hitting me or doing violent things to me, because that's what society has trained us to consider violent. They never talked about subtle manipulation, narcissistic comments, blaming you for everything, gaslighting, making you feel less than what you are, put downs, making everything about you when it's their own problem, making you feel responsible for all the things going wrong in their life when you're not in control of their life, they are. So as you awaken and you discover the truth behind how they speak to you, how they treat you, and you no longer tolerate that behavior, you are going to lose relationships in your life. The biggest and first relationship that I cut off and severed in my own personal life was my mother. That toxic behavior was doing my head in. And it got to the stage one day where the only thought in my head is one of us had to die. It was her or me. And life is the survival of the fittest. And considering committing suicide to get away from that was never a great place to be. It was never what I wanted to do. But it is something that happens so often. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, known, nurtured through, and helped stop thoughts like that. And I can't tell you how many people I wished I'd been able to save to stop them committing suicide, from them thinking that nobody understood them, or they couldn't tolerate the behavior of others anymore. They couldn't stop the negative voice in their head. They couldn't change their thinking. We are too short for this world already as it is, and we're too powerful not to tolerate or put up with crap for very long. Your soul or your body, your physical well-being will rebel somewhere. I just hope it doesn't rebel with disease. In my case, it did. My anger towards my mother, my hatred towards self cost me a uterus. It cost me the ability to have children. It will manifest into physical disease. I had CPTSD, I had anxiety, I had all sorts of symptoms of things because I couldn't say no. I didn't know how to put a stop to that behavior. First and foremost, back when I was in my 20s, I didn't even know what a narcissist was. It wasn't something that was very talked about. And I don't anymore label people as narcissists, because I don't think we need to put everybody into a box. But narcissism is a behavior. It is a trait that can be changed and altered if people want to, but they have to see it for themselves. The problem with people exhibiting narcissistic behavior is that they don't think there's anything wrong with them. They're just going to blame it on you. It's all about you. It's not about them. They can't see what they're doing. And they have this beautiful charm that comes across as they're the nicest person and they'll do anything for you. And they make everyone believe that you're the problem, not them. One of the biggest things in a spiritual awakening that you'll start to notice, when people are blaming everybody else for their own problems and no longer take or have never taken personal responsibility, you know that's a problem in life. You know that they are the problem. Okay? When you awaken, you accept your responsibility for what you do. You take ownership. You stand up and say sorry, beg forgiveness, or own your own patterns. You see the way you act and react in the world. You want to change. But people who are blaming others, stuck in victimhood, or believe that everything happens to them are not in control, and therefore they're not fully awakened to the truth of self. When you have that negative voice that tells you how horrible you are and you believe bad things about you, you can't love yourself to the full degree, you are totally misaligned with your higher self and your soul, because your soul loves and adores you. It thinks the best of you. It is the voice that tells you you can do anything, you can achieve anything, you will become anything, you will allow and be whatever you dream of. It implants seeds in your mind so that you will chase after amazing things. It will do whatever it can to get your attention. But we're so used to being programmed by other people and believing the stuff we've been told in our childhood from our family and friends and schoolmates and bullies and workmates and other people of not being good enough, of not doing enough, of not never being anything of value, because we don't have that inner value. And one thing for sure, as you awaken spiritually, everything in your life changes. Your whole perspective changes. You see lessons in everything. You see how what you went through made you who you are today, and who you are today is exactly where you need to be, because from this point in time is the only platform that you can push forward, grow, evolve, and change. You can't change when you're lost in depression. You can't change when you're stuck at, poor me, this happened to me, everything's coming at me. One of the biggest words or phrases that I use every single day for every single thing in my life, and it changed my whole life, is just the simple phrase of, what is this teaching me? When I'm interacting with others, what is this teaching me? When I feel sad, what is this teaching me? When I have good and bad connections with people, what is this teaching me? What is the energy that I'm putting out that is attracting and mirroring that back to me? You are in control of your energy and vibration, and it is one of the mastery skills that you will learn how to manifest, create, and deliver for self. Energy is a state of mind. It is a being of a practice that you bring to self. You can sit in low vibration, you can sit in poor me and accept blame of everything, or you can shift through it. And there are simple tools and techniques that you can learn to shift through it. One of the best ways to get out of feeling poor me and this bad stuff's happening to me, go distract yourself with comedy, cat videos, laughter, or something that you love to do. Go do something that brings you joy, because it is in that space that you will eventually find clarity. We don't find clarity in sadness. We definitely don't find it in grief, and we certainly don't find it in depression. But depression is a combination of emotional problems that have been bottled down or buried, or, no, I can't deal with that now, I'm going to push it down. I can't face that right now, I'm going to push it down. The rejection of emotion, the rejection of incidences and aspects of your life that you haven't seen, that you've already overcome. You haven't seen your sense of self. You haven't acknowledged your growth. You haven't become aware of what you've already conquered. You haven't found your courage. You're living in fear. It's not a place that you want to stay. As you awaken, it creates a big ripple effect on your life and in the relationships around you. You start to set boundaries. You start to see your self-worth. You start to define what you will and won't accept. You start to say no. And to people that have used you as their slave, their go-to person, the minion, the whatever label you want to put on it, or the person that does anything that you can to get recognition from them or to be in their space, you tolerate everything. When you finally say no, they can't handle it. They will crack the shits. They will lose it. And there will be blow-ups. And you know, the bigger the blow-up, the bigger the problem. And it means the more you've laid down for them, the more you've become a doormat, the more that you have rolled over so you never had to say no before. But during an awakening, there comes a time where you can't not do it. Unfortunately, for many people, that's a breaking point. That is rock bottom. That is a near-death experience. That is a massive disease wake-up call. That is burnout. That is overwhelm. That is fractured mind. Sometimes it goes very deep into a full mental breakdown. It goes to a state where you explode. When you bottle your emotions down and you won't face them and you won't come to terms with them, it's literally like the straw that breaks the camel's back. There will be one incident that's really not that important in life, but it's the one thing that tips you over the edge and you explode or implode. And the outreaching effects of that volcano effect can have a massive ripple effect on your life. Don't let it get to that stage. Face your emotions. Face up to who you are. Confront what's going on inside your mind. Journal, get it out on paper. Ask yourself, will you accept this behavior from other people? And if not, say no. And if they won't value the line in the sand or the boundary that you erect, release them. They are not for you. When you are misaligned with behaviors and conversations or dynamics with people, it doesn't feel normal to you. It doesn't feel like you fit in your own skin. You feel this sometimes itchiness, this essence of that you just can't stay. It becomes a physiological impact. So listen to that evidence of your body. Listen to your inner guidance system. Tap into your intuition and your higher self and find out what it is you really need. Because the deeper you awaken, these relationships, they have to go. You cannot continue to put up with toxicity because it brings you down and brings you down and brings you down to the point that it becomes a life-changing choice. Can you continue to stay being battered, beaten, bullied, controlled? Or are you going to stand up and go, no, I'm worth so much more than that, and walk away? And that is what most people end up doing. The ironic part about life and the awakening process is many empaths, and I'm one, don't even realize they're surrounded by people with narcissistic tendencies, or that they're putting up with narcissistic behavior, because they don't understand what it is. And sometimes that is the first wake-up call. And the irony of it is 90% of the people around you can see the bad behavior in the other person, but you can't, because you love them. And that's okay. They can do that. But that's how my mother shows me love. No, it's not. That's how my boyfriend, but he loves me and he apologizes later, and then he does it again and again. And then he escalates and escalates. And then it becomes a battery situation. Mental battery is so much worse than physical battery. But continuing in escalating battery ends in massive violence. And that is where we see people who end up ending their life one way or another. Don't ever let it get to that stage. There are red flags when you see a narcissist. You are not responsible for their actions or their reactions. You can't make them do anything. They are in control of their own reaction, their response, the way that they speak, the way that they do things. It's all on them. And once you realize that you've tolerated these patterns and disrespect for so long, that line in the sand gets stronger. And that is why many relationships, partnerships, families become dysfunctional and fail, because you will walk away. Because as I said, life is the survival of the fittest. You have to prioritize your own well-being. You have to put yourself first. And the choice is easy. You have to be number one in life. You can persist with them and ask them to change, lay down the boundaries, negotiate, communicate, and get them on board with what you want instead. But when they don't conform, change, or alter their behavior towards you, that is a massive problem. Communication is key, and everyone is available to change if they want to. But it's labeling and boxing people in and saying that this is the way that it is, that becomes the bigger problem. One of the lessons in life, never call a narcissist a narcissist. They don't recognize it, they don't see it, and it will set them off like the 4th of July fireworks. They will never, ever understand until they're ready, until they go through their own awakening, until they start realizing that everybody in their life leaves them for some reason, and they stop blaming other people and they start taking responsibility. As an empath, you wouldn't think that you would fall into narcissistic tendencies, but we model behavior. So when we have behavior thrown at us, it is natural for us to model and mimic it, so therefore we become it. I ended up doing it in my life too, after leaving and walking away. Even before ending the relationship with my mother, I was turning into her, and I promised myself at a very young age I would never, ever do that. It's one of the common things of mothers out there. I'm never going to be like my mum if you had a bad mother. Not everyone does. Some people want to be exactly like their mothers because they're beautiful, they're healed, they're amazing people. But be very mindful and listen to your children. I told my mother to her face, I'm not going to grow up like you. There's no way in hell. That was like my biggest fear. Pay attention when people say they don't want to be like you. They don't want to model the behavior that you're exhibiting. They don't want to live the life that you're becoming. As you awaken, one of the biggest reasons women especially awaken is they realize that they're setting a bad example for their children, and they don't want to repeat patterns of the past. And they want to create loving, healthy relationships that empower their children to become anything they can be and give them everything that they never had. The problem is, if you don't heal yourself first and you don't find your own true worth and you don't discover the beautiful essence of who you are first, you will attract people and relationships that do exactly the same thing that you tolerated and put up with in your childhood because you haven't learned that lesson. Boundaries are very essential because they protect you. They ensure that you are in control. They ensure that you are surrounded by relationships that value you, appreciate you, are grateful for who you are, who love and respect you, who boost you up, who empower you, who give you everything that you could ever desire. That is what you want in life. How you respond to others and how you teach those around you. We have to teach people how to respond to us. We have to lay out what we have and list our expectations of their behavior. Many people just put up with anything. And a lot of people get away with it for a long, long time because they never realize that they're doing anything wrong, because we just tolerate bad behavior. It's not until you say, no, I won't accept that, and teach them better, that they can possibly change. And if they don't, then they're unworthy of you. You have to recognize your own needs before you can truly set boundaries. You need to understand what your boundaries and dynamics are of what you will and won't accept. There are certain behaviors that people accept that I personally wouldn't accept, and there are certain behaviors that I personally don't accept that other people want me to exhibit. And that's okay. It's a negotiation. Sometimes you don't realize that you're doing the wrong thing, and you don't realize the impact that it has on you until somebody tells you. I was so used to being treated as a non-entity, as a nothing, as not being seen, not being heard, not being available to anyone for so many years, that when someone treated me with kindness, I just didn't know how to handle it. And I begged and asked them to treat me like they treated other people, and with the bad energy and the bad vibration. And they couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it either. But boundaries are something that you are willing to accept. And it's behaviors that you exhibit in self. You can't expect someone to follow your own boundary if you won't follow it for self. So whatever behavior you are willing to tolerate and accept from others, you have to conform and give it to yourself. Because if you say you won't accept someone speaking to you bad, but internally you're speaking to you bad and you're saying bad things about yourself and you're speaking out loud and acknowledging your own unworth, then you are going to reflect and attract more of that. So know that your own boundaries are the standards of behavior that you have to create for yourself first. It is those standards of behavior that show people what you want, because people give us back what we give out. It is very, very important in that way. Unfortunately, throughout the spiritual awakening, you are going to lose people along the way. These can be old dear friends, family members, partners, long-standing relationships that you've had for many, many years. Because as you evolve and grow and you up-level your vibration and frequency, stand in your boundaries, stand in your power, say no to things that no longer serve you, they either have the choice to elevate with you or you're going to vibrate out of their sphere. And if that's the case, that's okay. Because if you're losing people that are dragging you down, pulling you back into negative space, it is a very common thing, right? And there's no judgment here, I'm just giving examples. For anyone that's been in any sort of addiction behavior, whether it's drug, alcohol, gambling, shopping, there's many, many different ways of addicting behavior, of doing things and hanging around with groups of people who are all in that same behavioral environment doing the same thing. And when you stop and go no more, alcoholics cannot hang around other people that drink because it makes them want to drink. Gamblers can't hang around people doing gambling because it makes them want to gamble. So your tolerated behaviors are hanging around with people that are low frequency. You may start to notice that you have a whole group of friends who all have no self-love and no self-worth and pick on themselves and criticize and judge other people and nitpick and like they're that mean girl group. And then one day you can't do it anymore. And you won't allow them to do it to other people. So that's the line in the sand. I can no longer be with people that nitpick and pick on other people. It just doesn't sit well within my skin. And I'll either put a stop to the conversation and change it, or teach them how that what they're criticizing in somebody else is a mirror of a reflection of themselves. Or if I catch myself doing it, I ask myself, what is this teaching me? And why is that an irritation to me? Because it's all about me. Something that you don't like in other people is a pure reflection of your own self. Be mindful of what you're thinking or judging in others, because it is about what you think and judge of self. So as you elevate and grow, they either elevate and grow with you or you will walk away. And that's okay, because given time, they may awaken too, and they may not. And if not, you don't want to carry that low frequency and vibration and that bad energy with you into the future. And you cannot save somebody else. You cannot force them through an awakening. You cannot bring them with you unless they choose to. They have to want to awaken within themselves. And that happens in partners and marriages and everything like that. One person awakening in a marriage and the other not can cause massive conflict. But it can also open up the other person to start theirs and become more aware. You can coexist, depending on where your boundaries lie of what you're willing to put up with and tolerate within yourself. But it's just different for everybody. Go easy on yourself, give yourself credit where credit's due, and just let it flow. And if people are taken out of your life, trust that your higher self has arranged it with the universe for a reason to bring in better quality people. Now, in saying that, it is going to test you and bring back other people like what those other people were. But it's up to you to stand strong in the boundaries, train them to be better, or educate them on what you will and won't accept, or disregard them, walk away, and not embody yourself back in that cycle. Because the only way to truly find out whether you're strong enough and have overcome the problem is to put it back in your face again. So if you do lose people, just reframe that loss. Lovingly send them on their way so that they can find more people that are aligned with their vibration and frequency, who can bring them to the awakening process, who can help them discover who they are themselves, or learn their own lessons in whatever way they do. One of the biggest struggles that we have in life, and it can be so frustrating, personally for me, I know it can be, is to want to awaken people around you and help them see things. And you tell them, or they come to you for advice and you tell them for advice and you give them what they want. And then they go and don't listen to it and say, no, you don't know what you're talking about, wander off and do whatever they want to do. And then they come back and tell you, oh, so-and-so told me this. And, oh my God, you won't believe the difference that it made in my life. I told you that 3 years ago. You can't do it for them until they're ready. We can't live life for them. And they'll finally discover it and come back around. And if they're meant to come back around, they will always recycle back into your life. But remember, some people are here for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And once that season or that reason has ended, they will move on. There are 8 billion people on the planet. We are not restricted to a small group of 5 or 50 people. We are meant to meet many, many different people throughout our lifetime in many, many different ways. Open your heart to so much more. When you really step into the awakening aspect, you're going to want to choose high vibrational people and quality people. You're going to seek people with similar understandings, truths, stories, values. You are going to want to actively go and connect with people on the same pathway. And it is going to lead you to many different aspects of self. Trust your inner guidance system. Trust the instinct to go to this place or to consider this new activity or visit here. Trust that essence, okay? Sometimes it can be get off at this exit on the freeway sooner than your own exit to take a different route. You'll never know what it can save you. Sometimes it can be, oh, let's just go have a drink over here or go for a walk down there, and you meet someone beautiful out on that walk. Your spirit guide is going to manifest amazing connections for you if you let it. But don't disregard the nudges. If you get a sense, oh, I really want to go here today, go. Trust that. Sometimes it can be for a lesson or a wake-up call or another essence, or sometimes it can be to form a beautiful connection, relationship, friendship, or another level of awakening and ascension. It will always help you to find soul-aligned communities and connections with other people. That looks different for everybody, and not every community that you're going to go to is the right fit. You need to find one that fits in with who you are, what you believe, how you act, and what you do. So explore. Open your mind. Travel to different destinations. Facebook is a wonderful community where you can go and find groups on practically anything. They are all out there. So find something that interests you and find like-minded people that want to grow and elevate with you. You never know until you ask. Also, start having different conversations. As you awaken and you start talking more about it, you will discover so many more people that are awake that you ever realized. Start talking about what's going on in your life. Start discussing the signs and symbols that are happening around you. Start talking about your feelings in the way that they're elevating and how you're growing. Start talking about the evolution of your soul and what you're doing, and share your wins and successes. And discover the people that celebrate with you. Okay? Anyone that wants to put you down or doesn't want to celebrate or doesn't want to acknowledge what you're going through, they're unworthy of you. But those who congratulate you, celebrate you, and tell you what a great job, they're your tribe. Find more people like that. It's easy. As you do elevate through and awaken greater to the consciousness of the collective and the vibrational frequency of where your soul really sits, gratitude is a very powerful tool that you want to practice. And you need to focus on the gratitude of every interaction in life, whether it's good or bad. Because it is all teaching you something. And sometimes those lessons can be harsh and they can be downtrodden or feel like, oh my God, why do I have to go through that? But you don't know what you don't know until you do know it. And sometimes that's the only way that you can. So be grateful for the hardships in our life because they've taught us to get to be where we are and we conquered them. We may not understand the ease straight away of which we did conquer them, but we have come through them. We have defeated them, and they have molded us into who we are today and brought together new boundaries, new standards, new understanding of self. Our soul decides to incarnate on earth so that it can come to learn to feel things. We want to understand what those certain situations feel like. And trust me, we don't really grow through good feelings. We grow the most through the bad feelings and how we resolve to get through them. how we grow, how we deal with it. And when you truly awaken and you up level and understand who you really are, you start choosing how you react to things. You take moments to consider, is this worth my effort of arguing with the wrong people, of fighting for something that doesn't fully matter to you? One of my old-fashioned sayings that I really love to consider when I'm getting into arguments or upsets with other people from what they've said, done, or whatever I perceive as something that's not right within me is this 5 minutes of stress going to matter to me in 5 years' time? And is it worth my effort to continue? Okay? If it will matter to you, if it's that strong belief, if it's that strong a stance and it is going to fully matter to you in 5 years, fight for your life for it. If it's not, just let it go. Don't waste your energy. Don't give it 3 seconds of thought. It is not worth it. It's unworthy of you. And if you're not going to think about it in that amount of time, don't carry the burden of it with you. Spiritual awakening, although it is a powerful journey, it does come with lots of challenges, and one of those things is different relationships. And it's the family dynamics that can be the hardest to tolerate. Walking away from family members because they're toxic and unhealthy creates a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of blame. But sometimes our family are not meant for lifetime journeys. Sometimes they are transient. They are here to teach us something, to let us feel something, to grow, to evolve. And when you understand the lesson, it is easy to let them go. Think about it. When we're young, and if you have come from, my mum had 5 brothers and sisters, right? So she was a family of 6. And we spent lots of time with our cousins when we were very young. To this day, I have 2 cousins that I talk to on a regular basis, and the rest I sometimes connect with. They don't really get me. I'm probably considered the black sheep of the family because I'm the weird one, because I'm the awakened intuitive one and have skills and gifts that freak them out. But that's okay. The same as friendships from school. Due to Facebook and social media, I have connected with a lot of people from my school days. Unfortunately, in my school days, they were very turbulent for me because I didn't have the best childhood. And there was a lot of drama there, and there was a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. And through that, I don't remember a lot of people that I went to school with. I have good memories of those good relationships, but I don't have a lot of memories of people that either caused me problems or I consider did me harm. And that's a struggle for some people. It's not for me anymore because I've healed through it, I've worked through it, and I understand it. And sometimes I reconnect with those people and discover who they are now, and they're much better than we were as teenagers because everyone does evolve and grow. So don't keep your opinion of someone based on who they were 10, 5, 10, 15, even 12 months ago. Because we do all grow and evolve. Every year we change. Every time something happens. And an argument that you had or a disagreement that you had with someone 20 years may be resolved if you are both willing to forgive, move on, and embrace who you are now and not bring it back up into the conversation. You can't use it as a weapon from before. So trust that people will recycle into your life from the past. And that's to show you how far you've grown and how far they've grown. And if you are meant to stay together, they will stay. Otherwise, they can transient through your life just to show you your own evolution and growth. Because sometimes we need to see it for ourselves to discover that we're not the person that we used to be. One of the hardest lessons that I had to go and understand is a lot of what I thought happened to me didn't really happen to me because it was happening to me from other people, and I would unfortunately misblame others because they triggered something that was already there. I'm now so much more aware of my triggers, so I go and fix them as they arise. And through the awakening process, as you evolve in your friendships, relationships, and families, you will change your perspective on the roles and the interaction that you had together. You will discover the root cause of where those triggers come from. And triggers are your own responsibility to show you that you're incongruent with your thinking. It means that what you used to believe is no longer true, or what you believe now is not what you really are meant to believe or ready to step up and evolve into. So allow those people to come back. Forgive what's been done, because also remember they didn't know what they didn't know, and they did the best they could with what they had at the time, and they were there to teach us a lesson. And it was the only way that we could receive it. Okay, they're not to blame for doing that. Our soul asked their soul to do it for us, so we need to forgive them, release them, and let them go, and show ourselves that we are worthy of the gift of life that we have here, to grow our soul, ascend, and become better, to really feel all the different essences and aspects of what life is all about. Every shift is guiding you closer to the life and the connections of life that you want to have. Every growth is potential for you to choose consciously what you want, manifest everything that you desire, ask clearly for what you want. Put out to the universe what you want, state it out loud, have conviction with it, and then show up in that vibration, and it will come to you. Your soul is guiding you to where you exactly have to be at the exact right time that you're meant to be there. We try to control things because we want it all yesterday, and yes, I am a master at this problem. But I sit back and relax, trust the universe, and allow the energy to flow through me, not trying to control it. Okay, I just let it be and trust, follow the action, show up when I'm meant to, and do what I need to do. And that is where I get the greatest results. So trust your soul is leading you towards its purpose, its passion, and it's giving you everything that you can. You are so worth the effort to set the boundaries, to live the life that you love, to heal and thrive. Thank you for tuning into Spiritual Awakening with Shaz. I hope this episode resonated with you. I would love to hear your feedback. Please reach out to me on socials. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the episode. And please feel free to reach out or leave a comment. You can email me if you want at shaz@shazsini.com.au, or just contact me at shazsini on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or any of the socials. Comment on the YouTube video if you're watching it. If you need help or assistance, I have a free 30-minute clarity call. If you need someone to talk to through your awakening, book that service. I'm always happy to talk to you, to give you guidance. I have plenty of resources, but I don't know what you need until you ask. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, keep shining. Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss an episode. You can also follow us on Facebook with the links below. Until next time, trust your intuition and let your spirit soar.